Today, we're stepping into a crime scene where the biggest clue isn't really hidden at all, it's just misunderstood. This is a story about murder, perception, and a secret that's been hiding in plain sight the whole time. Let's get into The Man Behind the Glass.
So picture this. It's a dark, rainy night. Police lights are flashing inside this apartment. There's a man on the floor, he's dead, and over on the wall, a mirror has been smashed into a million little pieces. It's a grim, classic setup for a mystery.
And this idea is the real challenge for our detective here. The answer isn't buried in some dusty old file or a hidden footprint. Nope, it's right there, out in the open, just waiting for someone to finally see it for what it truly is. Okay, so the scene is set, but figuring out what happened is, well, it's not going to be easy. The investigators are looking at what seems like a totally impossible crime scene. So how in the world do you solve a case when every single lead just goes nowhere? This is where the real work begins.
And this is where our guy comes in, Detective Arjun Rathod. You can tell he's seen it all, and maybe that's why he sees things a little differently. While all the other cops are focused on the body, the weapon, the usual stuff, Arjun, he's just staring at that shattered mirror. It just doesn't feel right, you know? It feels intentional.
And this is the question that just clicks in his mind. This wasn't some random act of violence. Somebody smashed that mirror for a reason. But what could possibly be so terrifying in a reflection that you'd have to destroy it? This is our first real clue. For now, though, that mirror isn't talking, so the investigation has to shift to the only other piece of evidence they've got, a photograph. But this clue, it's a tricky one. It holds the key, for sure, but it's also the perfect distraction. And pretty much right away, the investigation hits a solid brick wall. They look into the usual suspects, right? The best friend who owed him money, the neighbor he always argued with, the business partner from a deal that went south, and they all check out. Every single one of them has a confirmed, rock-solid alibi. Logically, none of them could have done it. So what do they have left? Just this one thing. The victim is holding a photo. And in the background, you can just make out this weird, distorted shadow. It's blurry, it's twisted, it could be anything or anyone. But it is all they have to go on. And here's the trap. Everyone just assumes the photo shows exactly what happened, that someone was standing behind the victim when the picture was taken. They trust what they see, but they're not questioning how they're seeing it. So the investigation just grinds to a halt. Days go by, the trail gets colder, and everyone's getting frustrated. But sometimes, a breakthrough doesn't come from some new, amazing piece of evidence. Sometimes it's just a trick of the light. So picture this. Detective Arjun is at home. He's exhausted, he's getting nowhere on the case. He's just standing there, staring into his own bathroom mirror, playing the whole thing over and over in his head. He's hit a dead end. And then, something happens. Completely by accident. He's holding his phone with the crime scene photo up on the screen, not even really thinking about it, but then he looks up and he sees the phone's reflection in the mirror right in front of him.
And that's it. That's the spark. The question that changes absolutely everything. What if they've been looking at the evidence all wrong? What if the photo itself isn't the real clue, but a reflection of the real clue?
Because in the mirror's reflection, everything changes. That distorted, meaningless blob of a shadow suddenly corrects itself. The weird angles flatten out, the blur just sharpens, and a face, a clear, recognizable face, emerges from all that noise.
This is the big reveal. The killer wasn't hiding in the shadows of the room, they were hiding in the shadows of perception. Now we can finally see the truth in the reflection. So let's break down exactly how this incredible illusion worked.
It's honestly so clever. The victim wasn't having his picture taken by someone else, he was taking a selfie in a big mirror. So that shadow everyone was obsessed with, it wasn't a person standing behind him, it was the reflection of the person standing in front of him. To see the killer's real face, you had to look at the photo's reflection in another mirror, basically undoing the reversal. I mean, the difference is just staggering. On one hand, you have the photo itself, with this twisted, useless figure. But then you look at its reflection, and boom, there's the truth. The unmistakable face of the business partner. The same guy with that perfect, unbreakable alibi. And just like that, the entire case is flipped on its head. What seemed like an impossible crime suddenly becomes very, very possible. This is the line Arjun uses when he confronts him.
It's so powerful because it's not just an accusation, it completely dismantles the killer's entire defense. His alibi was built on the idea that he wasn't there at all, but the photo proves he was, just not where everyone thought he was.
So here's how it all actually went down. The victim and his partner are arguing, face to face. Behind the victim is a huge mirror. At some point, the victim snaps a quick selfie, maybe as an act of defiance, and he catches the partner's angry face in the reflection. Then the partner attacks. In a panic, he smashes the big mirror on the wall, thinking he's just destroyed the only evidence. But he forgot all about that tiny digital mirror on the phone.
And the final scene is just perfect. Arjun doesn't need any complex forensics, he just holds up the phone with the picture on it to a little hand mirror. The killer sees his own face, clear as day, staring back at him from the crime scene. And that's it. He breaks.
And in the end, that's what this was all about. It wasn't about finding some hidden monster in the shadows. It was about seeing a person who made a terrible choice and was hiding right there in plain sight the entire time.
And that really gets to the heart of this whole thing, doesn't it? This story is such a powerful reminder that sometimes understanding isn't about finding more information, it's about changing your perspective on the information you already have. And it leaves us with this final question. How many secrets out there are hidden from us, not because they're in the dark, but simply because of the way we've chosen to look at them?